It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. Nielsen and Gazzola back with you once again. Thank you very much for watching on YouTube, on the Nielsen Media YouTube channel, or right here on Twitter. And, of course, if you're listening to the podcast a little bit later on, we appreciate you downloading and supporting us there as well. Tommy, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Not much, man. Just playing with this light. Look at this. Orange.
Yeah.
Blue.
Okay.
In between.
I like that one.
Nice.
I like that one. In between.
Yeah.
In between's the best one. Yeah. I got two lights. And my one's great. It's kind of expensive. You can op it from like the computer and stuff. And the other one's kind of one you can take on the road, but it's shit. It's died on me. So I've got that other one that we bring to Boston Pizza, the big one. That's new.
Good.
And that worked pretty good. That worked pretty nice. So I probably need to get one more light in here. I don't know if you can see which side of my face. If I was to tell you right now, which side of my face is the light on, could you guess?
No, but mine.
Oh, not bad.
No, yours
you got window light there, don't you? Is that window light?
That's what I was saying.
That's
I left my
light.
window open. Usually I draw the blinds, but
That's
today
all
I was
good.
like, yeah, whatever.
It's all good. As always, the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. If you're sitting around today, maybe you're hungry, you don't want to go out, DoorDash, skip the dishes, Uber Eats, get some nugs, get the blackened chicken sandwich, get the famous Popeye's chicken sandwich, some sides, the beverages, and treat yourself this afternoon. Tommy, kind of quiet here for you. Like no game yesterday, no game today, and obviously back into pregame tomorrow as this road trip continues against the Boston Bruins, which should be a very interesting game. But no shortage of things to discuss. One being the play of Campbell on Saturday, and then the play of Skinner this past week. Tommy, like I don't even know how you can justify finding games for Campbell right now. You know, I know you have to somewhere along the way, but with the way that Skinner's played right now and the way Campbell's played, probably even more importantly, I mean, this is a one-man net right now, isn't it?
There's no time left to let Jack Campbell figure out his game. That time has come and gone. We thought he had it sorted out. We watched him play very well in January, get a lot of good results, and now he's back to Jack Campbell letting in goals that have no business going in. So I don't think that they're going to be willing to give him extra starts to find his groove again. He's going to have to take what they give him, back-to-backs, weaker opponents, and he's going to have to figure it out on the fly because they need points to get into the top three in the Pacific, and there's no games to waste now. So sorry, Jack Campbell. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, and that's the business of pro sports and pro hockey in particular. You alluded to Stuart Skinner. He was excellent against the Buffalo Sabres.
Very good.
He's been very solid since he, has had his son. And finally, he had that extra time where Campbell came in, played well. Now he's found his rhythm. It's his net. And I like how he's doing it at an important part of the season where the pressure is higher. He's making big saves. He's coming up clutch, and I think that is an indicator that he's building himself into a big game performer.
Let's just skip right to inside the numbers here for Cool Bet. Stay cool, bet responsibly with Cool Bet. If you want to bet on the Oilers and Bruins, you can go do that at Cool Bet. A bunch of hundreds of markets for each game over there. And the Oilers obviously will be a dog on the road here against the Boston Bruins. In fact, I just finished the lock shop, so I do have Cool Bet sitting in front of me. And I'll just see, they probably have tomorrow's game already up. I believe they do. And yes, the Edmonton Oilers are a plus 146 underdog on the road against a very good Boston Bruins team there. But no, the reason I wanted to get to inside the numbers right now, Tommy, they got 17 games left?
Yes.
Over or under 4.5 starts the rest of the way this season for Jack Campbell. What do you think? Not what it should be, but what do you think it will be? Does Jay Woodcroft find him 5 more starts in their final 17 games?
I'll go with the over. I know that there's a couple of back-to-backs left, and there's a couple of weeks against weaker opponents. I think in the last week of the season, depending on where the Oilers are sitting in the postseason picture, we might see an extra start for Jack Campbell to rest Stuart Skinner. So that adds up to about 5. So I think he'll get 5, maybe 6, depending on what's going on with Stuart Skinner. So I would take the over. That's just me, though.
I was asked this on the Smash Hit Nielsen show on TSN 1260 today. Do you think Stuart Skinner, like with the state of Canadian goaltending here, Tommy, if there was to be a best on best in the next 2 to 4 years, Skinner on that roster? I mean, I'm not sure he's the number one guy in a must-win game, but I don't know a lot of guys who are on the list ahead of him at this point.
Yeah. Right now, who do you have up there?
Carter Hart. I see people still put Bennington in the mix there.
Is the one I was going to say. I'm trying to go across all the Canadian goalies who are left.
That's it, buddy. There's not much.
Respectable. Like Ottinger's American. Demko's American.
You're looking at Darcy Kemper, an old Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
Maybe not Matt Murray. Talbot? You're not going there.
Yeah.
Tristan Jarry.
Jarry's a good one. What's up with our goalies? What's going on?
Logan Thompson. There? But why should he have any more case for the team than Stuart Skinner?
In there.
Right? So I'd put Skinner ahead of that. I think if you were to name this team today, Skinner's one of the 3 goalies. I honestly think it should be the case.
He's got to be
Carter
on the
Hart,
radar.
Stuart Skinner. I don't even know who I'd pick as the third guy. We got to develop some goalies in this country, man.
I don't know what the hell's going on, man. What's going on? Quebec, pump out some goalies. Let's go.
Jeez, that's a really good point. Looking at this list, and
best goalies.
Everybody used to come out of there, and now it's.
What? I would probably keep Marc-Andre Fleury up there. I'd really like the game that in general, he's been really good. I think he's a big game player still. I'd have Marc-Andre Fleury as the go-to, even though he's old as you know what now.
Yeah, Fleury, Hart, Skinner. There you go. There's your. I think Skinner is trending in that direction. I don't think we forget it, but he's a rookie. He's doing pretty good for being a rookie, man. Now,
no complaints.
Do you think he wouldn't have to carry them to a Stanley Cup? But can the Oilers win a Stanley Cup with Stuart Skinner playing the way he has, overall bigger picture, so far this season?
He could help them win the West, certainly. I don't know what's going to be left standing in the East, but if everything falls into place, in theory, yeah. I mean, if he continues to grow, develop, and gain confidence in hard situations and he gets results, absolutely, he could get them into the Stanley Cup final, and then who knows what happens. He's tracking that way, it feels like they've taken their time with him. It's been a slow progression, but now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor take, right? And blossom and bloom. And so, yeah, I mean, it could happen. How likely is it? I don't know, but I don't think it's crazy at all. Not yet. I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think he's given us many reasons to doubt it. We've seen Bennington, Matt Murray. Some of these younger guys have success in the playoffs, and we know the Oilers are going to score a bunch of goals in front of them. Now, there could be some inconsistencies there, and that would obviously be an area of concern, and I'm not sure you can go to Jack Campbell at any point in the postseason right now. So there's a long way to go. Who knows? I mean, we'll see how this actually, somebody in the live chat right now, Oily Doughboy, who we met at Boston Pizza, Oily Doughboy. Yep. Could Skinner be the 06 Cam Ward? Right? Reverse Cam Ward. This time he does it for you as opposed to doing it to you. So that would be, an Oilers Hurricanes Stanley Cup final this year with Jesse Puljujarvi on one side and the Oilers on the other. Oh, I'm here for it.
Do you remember in 06 who the Carolina starter was that year?
It was
former Oiler goalie.
Oh, how do I not know this? Former Oiler goalie.
Baby food.
Oh yeah, Marty Gerber. He was there. He was the starter.
Yeah.
And then Cam Ward took over.
Yes.
Man, he came to the Oilers after that, didn't he? Or was he there? That was after. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Okay, man. That's right.
Really good guy. He was in Oklahoma.
Was he good?
Awesome dude. I was in Oklahoma and spent time with him, and he was really good. I'm like, this guy was the starter, the one the Canes won the cup. Now he's the third string in Edmonton behind Nikolai Happy Poulin.
A little bit different there.
Man, you want to talk about a guy just collecting a paycheck and not giving a shit? Nikolai Habibulin.
Habibulin. I remember I was pretty early into my days here with the Nikolai Habibulin stuff, and we didn't do texts yet, but it was Kyle Chase and I. And we had an email hour from like 9 to 10 where we just read emails. It was like pre-inbox, right? Like pre-text.
Yep.
And it was always a good email segment. But I read Nikolai has been boozing text. And I mean, to be honest with you, I laughed. It was funny. But
did you get a call from the Oilers?
Alan Watt called me right after the show and he kind of ripped the script. I mean, and Alan and I have got to know each other very well now, and he's a great guy. But I remember I was like maybe 7 months into the market, and I think Alan Watt called me about that, and then I got a call from. Well, I think I got a call from Rich Winter one time about Freddie Anderson, and he was not pleased about something I said because Anderson was one of his clients, right? So it was, yeah.
Habibulin, when that stuff went down with him racing in his sports car after a glass of wine, and he ended up in jail down in Phoenix for like a month. I remember a crew, I think it was from CTV, went down to cover the story because it was a big deal at the time. Yeah. And he would not speak to CTV anymore after that. Hey, I was team media. I was Oilers TV at the time, and he barely spoke to us. And I was just like,
that just wasn't his thing. Hey, like,
why am I even talking to this guy? He's a weirdo. He doesn't want to be here. He's just collecting.
He was a good goalie, though.
Not for the Oilers.
No, not for the. But in his career, he was a pretty good goalie.
Oh yeah. Stanley Cup champ.
He had a decent stretch for the Oilers too, didn't he? I feel like he had a small stretch where it was actually pretty good for the Oil. But maybe I'm wrong.
I'd argue that he did not, but whatever.
The Bulin Wall, right? That was the Bulin Wall. Yeah, that was the thing.
Winnipeg and Tampa and Phoenix, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit in Chicago, not in Edmonton.
Not the Bulin Wall in Edmonton, says Tommy Gazzola. All right, so they're getting healthier. They've added Bjugstad. We've now seen them go to a 12-6 setup, Tommy, which we have not seen a lot. So I think this question still needs to be played out a bit before we really come to a conclusion on it and see this team with Kane and Bjugstad and everybody in it. But if they had to win a game right now, a must-win game, do you think they'd go 12-6, or do you think they'd still stick with 11-7 that they've played the majority of the season with and have done really well with 11-7, as Jay Woodcroft has pointed out a number of times?
Yeah, and I think it would depend on who they're facing and what that team's coach does in terms of tendencies with matchups. Like, I don't think that it's going to be a set every game as a 12-6. I feel like there's going to be times where we see 11-7, depending on how matchups are playing out, and how much trust that they have in the seventh defenseman too. That's important as well. But you know what has worked with the 11-7 is you get more McDavid and more Draisaitl.
Yeah,
and it throws off or it makes it harder for the opposition coach to match up with those guys, because basically every shift one of those two is on the ice, and that's hard to check. Like, that's really hard to check. So I think it's going to be game by game, situation by situation. We hear Jay Woodcroft say all the time he takes it one day at a time, one game at a time. And I think that'll be the circumstance that dictates 12-6 or 11-7, with the one caveat being he has said he prefers the traditional 12-6, obviously not afraid to go 11-7.
If it is a 12-6, I mean, is it going to be 80% Desharnais with a sprinkling of Broberg, or how do you think they handle those two? I didn't want to say youngerish, but inexperienced defensemen. Yeah,
I think what we have seen with Jay Woodcroft, and this was something Todd McClellan did too, is there's a reluctance to put the really young guys in all situations. They try to insulate them as much as possible. Desharnais' advantage is he's 26. He's played, a handful of years of pro hockey. So too has Philip Broberg. But, one guy's got old man strength and is not afraid of a 32-year-old coming at him physically. And the other one is, just finding his rhythm in the NHL. So they're kind of in a different mental space in terms of where they are in their lives. And I think that factors in. Maybe that's why Desharnais gets the nod over Broberg. Broberg's the better skater. Desharnais is the more physical guy. Broberg's a better passer. Desharnais just takes up literally more space, gets in front of shots, gives you that old school third pairing type of defenseman. So, it'll probably be more Desharnais, but if he has a rough night like he did against Winnipeg, maybe they look at pulling him in some situations and going with the guy that's got more finesse to his game in Philip Broberg. It's good to have those different types of defensemen that you can put into certain situations.
New look Devon Shore, the odd man out when Evander Kane's ready to go here?
Well, looking at Jack Michael's tweet from earlier from how they skated as Shore being the extra forward, yeah, it seems like it, and that's okay. Good on Devon Shore. I like this. This is healthy competition. Guys are hungry to stay in the lineup. When they're taken out, they're hungry to get back in. When they get back in, they're giving you something. Devon Shore being one of those guys. This is a great scenario where guys are fighting to stay in the lineup and you're getting results. And these are good veteran NHL players that are in a dogfight, which I think is a great scenario overall. So, you know what? Good on Devon Shore. When he gets back into action, I'm sure he's going to work just as hard as he has over the last stretch of games. And maybe he continues to get results. That's why he's their 13th forward. Reliable. They love him in the room. And he's the type of guy that doesn't complain when he sits out.
The lines, according to Jack, obviously on the road with the team in Boston. They practice at BU today. McDavid between Hyman and Kane, Draisaitl with Nuge and Yamamoto, Bjugstad with Fogle and McLeod, and then Ryan between Janmark and Klim Kostin. Obviously, they can use McLeod as a center. They have the two veterans right there, the two right shots in Bjugstad and Ryan. Do you read much into McLeod being on the wing here for the last little while, Tommy?
That's good versatility. I don't think he played particularly great against Buffalo, and I think that's why he got the demotion and Fogle got bumped up to McDavid's line. But yeah, part of the growing process and the learning curve, and great that he could play on the wing. So outside of him needing to just be a little bit more assertive, not a big deal, I don't think.
Ryan McLeod has not scored since February 11th. So that's a stretch of well over 10 games now. He's got 3 points, 3 assists since February 11th, but has not scored in almost a month. So I'd like to see him contribute here at some point. But when McDavid's going to score maybe 70 goals, it obviously helps everything else. And let's get to your Boston Pizza appetizer here on Connor McDavid. Appy hour every day from 2 until 5, and then again from 9 until close. Pasta Tuesday if you want to swing by there. And of course, that BP's Lounge ready to go right after work when they're on the road. Swing by, watch the Oilers and Bruins and all of your Boston Pizza lounges, and there are a lot of them. Also, keep an eye out for Jeff Walker, The Experience. 4 first dates in the last 4 weeks, 4 different women, 4 different Boston Pizza locations. It's the plug that Boston Pizza didn't know they needed, Tommy. That's what that is right there.
Man, the post-game Ranger, a.k.a. The Experience, when he's on your show, he, on the post-game the other night, after that game, he was telling me some stories about one of those first dates, and they are not fit for air. But I was laughing. I was howling, man. I'm like, this guy is something else. And you have to see it to believe it, because I'm not even surprised that he went to BP's 4 times in a row in 4 different locations.
I want the podcast with you and Jeff talking about dating stories, like 2 totally opposite dudes sharing dating stories. I want that. That's good. Yeah, I want that.
I've got one tonight actually, and but like his are different. Like I don't know how to describe it. They're just different. Where I'm just like, well, I did not have that happen. I didn't even start where you started, and this is messed up in the best way.
What a mess!
Keep sharing.
Yeah. Being a fly on the wall, hanging around that guy, it's something else. All right, so Connor McDavid. He needs 16 goals in his last 17 games to hit 70 goals on the season, which is insane. He has 12 goals in his last 8 games, Tommy. So even if he could slow down a bit from his pace for the last 8 games, he could still do this. they're going to be playing games that matter pretty much the entire way. So I don't see him taking his foot off the pedal until maybe like game 81 or game 82, if that, considering the battle that they're in that Pacific Division right now. As of today, still in a wild card spot. So the push is there. I don't know if it'll get to the point where like they're trying to feed him to get to 70, but maybe if he gets close, Draisaitl hooks him up every once in a while. But the fact that he's within striking distance of 70 it's unfathomable to me, Tommy. I haven't had a chance to talk about this since I guess maybe Ovi went off for 65 a long time ago now.
Yeah, don't tell Connor McDavid he can't do something, because he's going to shove it back in your face and do it with a vengeance. Like, it's incredible. I still feel like he ends up at like 66, 67, but the way he's rolling right now, if he gets to 71, 72, it's just like, yeah, well, last 2 games of the year, you and I are talking about, oh, he only needs 4 or he needs 5, and he ends up getting a hat trick both games, something ridiculous like that. That's just the type of amazing performances we're witnessing from this guy. And what was crazy to me is Jay Woodcroft last week said he feels like Connor McDavid still is capable of reaching another gear. And I'm just like, pardon me, I think he's reached like top gear. Like, you're telling me he's got NOS on this thing and he can hit the boost button? My goodness. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. So I'm always very conservative with my predictions, and I say like 67. But if he gets to that last couple of games of the regular season and he's sitting at like 66, 67, then I think he could pop off.
If you try to put this into context with Wayne Gretzky seasons, let's say McDavid finishes with, let's just say it's 68 goals and 158 points. Like, that's possible. Like, that's the type of numbers he's putting up this year. To me, in the era that we're in now, compared to the 80s when Wayne was playing, it's better than a 55-goal, 164-point season, basically straight up from Wayne. I would put it up there and probably better than a 183-point season with 62 goals in the 80. I mean, this is I don't know if this is taking it too far, but this is like the equivalent of Wayne Gretzky's 200-point seasons in my mind. Like, that's how I view it. With the way that the game was played then to the way that the game's played now, if Connor McDavid throws up 68 and almost 160, you're telling me that's not comparable to 190 or 200 points in the 1980s? It can't be. Wow. It can't be far off. I haven't adjusted the era thing yet, but it can't be far off. Like, this could be one of the top 10 offensive seasons of all time when it's said and done.
Yeah, the goalies he's scoring on and goaltending in general today compared to what we saw in the 80s and 90s is a far cry. Like, these goalies are amazing now. They're giant human beings, first of all, and they're athletes, and their reflexes are top notch. Like, no disrespect to the goalies of the 80s and 90s, but back then, Darren Pang, who's like 5'4", was a starting goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks, albeit briefly. He was playing for them in the playoffs. And like, you see Greg Millen, you see Chico Resch walking around when they're doing games, and you're like, that was a goalie in the NHL. And you look at their gear back then and how they played. And listen, they were skilled. They were the best in the world at what they did back then. But compared to now, these goaltenders are amazing, amazing. And to be able to pump 60, potentially 70, and in this era is absolutely remarkable. And I don't know how you do the numbers and the adjustment for the eras. And I'm sure there's
it's out there
who are mathematicians that can do it. But this season that we're witnessing, adjusted, I'm assuming is right there, if not beyond what 99 did.
I'm going to have to dive into this before we get to Friday's episode. Actually, here we go, Tommy. So this is Hockey Reference. I know there's better statistical places to go right now, but this is the NHL and WHA single season leaders and records for adjusted points. So the best season ever would be Howie Morenz 1927-28
Wow.
for adjusted. There's another one from the 30s. So, but it's Wayne Gretzky 85-86, Wayne Gretzky 84-85, Mario 88-89, Wayne 83-84, Wayne 82-83, Connor McDavid's season last year, 2021, Connor McDavid's season this year, which still has 17 games left, is the 13th greatest offensive season era adjusted of all time. And he's not done, Tommy. He's not done. Like, it's
amazing. Crazy. It is absolutely amazing. That's cool that they adjust from like the 20s and 30s, because I mean that hockey back then was completely different than what we
That's
know
completely
now.
different
Even
sport, right? Like, it's completely different.
Like, the elements are generally the same, but the rules and I think that was just after they incorporated the forward pass in hockey. And it was a different time, but that's cool that they go back that far. I think that's super neat.
So McDavid, I mean, there's a good, he's going to top last year, and he was at the 9th best season ever last year, and there's only 4 Gretzky seasons better than him. So, I mean, I think this season is going to end up being on par with the 200-point season for Wayne Gretzky, which is just
amazing.
Didn't think we'd ever see it. Growing up as a kid, and when he retired, I didn't think we'd ever see it again. And then, like, Crosby and Ovechkin come along, and you're like, man, these guys are generational greats, but they were nothing close to it. And now we got somebody who's close to it, and it's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. All right, you probably got a double date with Jeff Walker that you got to get to, so we'll let you go here, Tommy. That's going to do it for another episode of the Oil Stream. As always, we appreciate the support both on podcasts and views, and just telling your friends that the Oil Stream exists. We would appreciate that as well. Tommy, get us out of here, buddy, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
Yeah, no double date. Just for clarification, my dad is picking me up. We're going to go buy some irons for him. Shout out to Murray at Golf Town, who's one of our buddies that we golf with. That's going to help Reno out. So I'm looking forward to that. And without further ado, thanks for tuning in, texting in. No text. Yeah, there was text today.
That's kind of texting.
Some texting in. And, we appreciate you. We'll see you on Friday. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash the thumbs up button. Ciao for now.